day off with some purpose. And I'll share a slide with you that I've had in our blueprint sessions. And it's, the first investment you should make in the day should start with yourself. And everyone always thinks about productivity, performance, and look, we're real estate agents, right? So we want to know, how do we get another deal? But in reality, everything we do starts with the morning, and the morning actually starts the night before. So what I want to encourage everyone to start thinking about is two things as the year's pretty much halfway done. Is what is your evening routine and what is your morning routine, right? Like, how do you end your day with purpose and how do you start your day with momentum? Because if you don't have those two things in alignment, what you want, what you get, and what you have turn out to be three different things. And when those two things are in alignment, what you want, what you have, and what you get will all become in alignment, right? So as we start our journey through learning new skills, being more purposeful in our actions, and really thinking about our business more on a macro level as opposed to transactionally, these are two fundamental things that people need to have in place: how you end the day and how you start the day, right? And if you're starting your day in your email inbox and Instagram, those are two really poor choices to do. So I'm sure I've offended somebody here at some point, and I'm sorry, but I'm saying it because I care. So when you start your day, start it on purpose. Start it with something that makes you feel good. Drink some water, get moving, listen to something that inspires you. Listen, if you don't have time to exercise, it's bullshit, because anyone could do burpees for 5 minutes and want to die. But like, that will release the endorphins in your body and will start putting you in a state where you can start taking more meaningful and purposeful action. See, what I know is how it starts is how it goes. If you have a bad morning, is it easy at 9 o'clock to start doing things like reaching out to your clients, reaching out to other agents, and doing things that are proactive? No, it's not. What ends up happening is you go back to those mundane, busy work tasks that people mistake being busy with being productive. Does this make sense to everybody? Is this a timely conversation for some of us? Look, the years just go by and time just evaporates. And these are the areas that I find people really don't think about. These are also the areas that I know with the most successful people I work with of how they're making their quantum leaps, right? I'm constantly inspired every day by the amount of people that are in California that are here at 6:30 in the morning. Like, they're here, they're present, and they're starting your day by choice. So remember, if you want to drill down your morning routine to a couple things, make sure that you do this with purpose, right? What am I doing in the morning? Is it purposeful? And you always have choice. Those are two things that you can always control. If you want anything different in your life, you just have to start making different choices, right? And we go back to discipline, consistency, and patience. So now that I've shared that little tidbit for morning and evening routines, we can go back to our regularly scheduled real estate program, and we can go back to how do we share the market with our clients. So for a continuation of last week in this ongoing conversation, understanding how to meet somebody where they are and how to share the market are the two most important fundamental skills that are going to grow your business and ultimately create balance in your life. Because when you learn how to share the market, you end up with the right people. Now, what I wanted to do today is help you think through an operating system that you can use to start tracking what your clients are saying and how to build your skills on an ongoing basis. Is anyone actually doing this? Okay. So we have lots of opportunity for growth. So the first thing I want you to write down is, at the end of each day, what challenging situations did I face with my clients? Now let's think about it. Somebody drop in a chat, everyone drop in a chat a challenging situation they faced with their clients recently over the weekend. commission discount, not understanding the value of the market. Home is not inspecting well, selling directly to a buyer without me. They didn't sign me in at new dev. Buyers who are very discouraged, right? Now, this is what I want you to start thinking about. It's an exercise called thought response control, right? And in this one, it's challenge response control, right? So what's the challenge? A buyer that wants to cut their commission, right? What can you control in this situation? The only thing that you can control in this situation is being prepared to have an effective conversation. So what is your response? And that response is the script of what you need to work on, right? So if you start looking at this list, how many of these things are things that you're going to have to deal with over and over and over and over again? It doesn't end. But the challenge that we all have is none of us have an actual system to identify, clarify, make peace with what's going on, and then build a system, right? Because a lot of us are just frustrated in this moment, right? Raise your hand if you feel frustrated with the client you have at this time. Everybody, right? Like for the person that said they didn't sign you into new development, like that's beyond disappointing after you put all this time, effort in. The simple thing they could do is like think about you for a moment and sign your name in, because it's not like you're getting paid for all those volunteer hours that you put into this. So a lot of this is pre-framing what is going to happen, right? So there's a difference between being reactionary and playing defense versus playing offense. When you start categorizing these things and practicing and understanding that, okay, this is my business, this is what I'm going to have to deal with, this is what I have to learn, everything is going to get better. Because over time, you're going to start mastering these skills, and mastering skills is like riding a bicycle. Once you know how to do it, you know how to do it. Now think about it. When you got your license and you had to make appointments to show property, was it challenging? Yeah, you had to go on the MLS, you had to do a search, you had to figure out what number to call, how do I work a lockbox, how do I print a show sheet? But now you can do that stuff in your sleep. If you're in Manhattan, when you got it, you have to figure out how to make an appointment, and then you have to figure out how to show an apartment, like actually physically show an apartment, right? When there's not a lockbox, the way they do real estate in Manhattan, the Hamptons, and some of these other areas where you physically have to show the apartment, it's very different than our suburban lockbox culture. But now you can do it over and over again because there's repetition, right? And repetition builds confidence. Steffi, what's your question?
Oh no, you had just said something about like each challenge is
Oh,
like
sorry, say that one more time. I had my sound muted. I didn't realize
oh,
it.
sorry. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted you to repeat you were saying with each challenge comes like the option for you to master blah 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 and blah blah blah. I missed the
Yeah.
two the
Oh,
other.
no. Listen, with each challenge comes the opportunity for you to master the response. And once you master the response, you own it, right? Like once you know how to handle a commission objection and you feel confident doing it. No, with repetition comes confidence. That was the other part, Steffi, right? With repetition comes confidence. Because look, once you know how to handle that objection, it's not really even an objection. That's a bad framing to it. It's just a question that somebody has in their mind. That's it. All of these things are questions. We think they're objections because we have this perceived value that we offer. People don't actualize the value because we really don't communicate clearly. And then we get defensive. Great. No matter what they ask, great. It's everywhere you go. People do this. People are constantly offended. And we need to realize that there is no emotional response in it. The people are who they are, and we have to respect what they say. Look, it's no different than when we share training and then we give 45 minutes of training. And at the end, we want to share a little bit of our programs, and people send us email that says, wow, that was very salesy. But we have a business just like you do, right? Like it's being transparent with people, but understanding how to go through these scenarios. So what I want you all to do is to start, number one, playing offense. So if you think about how we started this conversation, we started with an evening routine and a morning routine. Is that playing offense? Yes. Now, is starting to map out your challenges that your clients give you every day playing offense? Yes. If somebody wanted to be a community connector, it's pretty cool. There's like all these like little communities of people that met here. There's like a workplace group. It's like Chirag Shah inspired gatherings. There's another, there's a mobile group. There's a marketing group that merged. I would take this community of people and all of you working together, and I would build a master spreadsheet. So someone's going to step up and own building the spreadsheet, and they're going to be a connector. And then I would take, if I were you guys, I would step up and do that. And then I would have everyone put their challenges in there. So every time you have a challenge, go through and listen to, look at what's in there. If it's new, put it in there. If it's already there, don't. But if we have this spreadsheet, then I can go in when I'm on a plane or another time, or I have time in between appointments, and I can help you guys with all these responses. Would that be helpful to everybody? I could drop in little informal videos, right? So these are all different things that we can do together, right? Remember, we talked about collaborative learning and the real value of a community. The community is not my mind. The community is the 50+ minds that are here. We have great agents. We have some great admin staff. We have great sales managers like Steven, who shows up every day, right? Like, what better confidence can you get than your sales manager who actually shows up to invest into his learning every day, right? So there's different things that we can all do, but a lot of this is how we think through things. And I share this with everyone very often. When I worked at Compass, the most valuable thing I got out of my manager when I worked there is he taught me how to approach things and think through them differently. And I realized that in coaching is, if you approach the same thing with the same thought over and over again, you're going to get the same results. If you start thinking through these things a little differently, approaching them a little differently, playing offense, you're going to get a more proactive result. So my goal has always been this: for all of you to learn the essential skills, conversations, dialogues, and the things that you need to do to be able to play offense, for this business to get a little easier, right? Remember, 5 minutes a day at 300 days a year is 25 hours. So if we cut the year in half and we practice something 10 minutes a day for the next 150 days, it's 25 hours of practicing a set amount of skills. Believe me, if you spent 25 hours on something, do you think you would master it? I don't think some of these things will take more than 3 or 4 hours for you to master. So the question is, number one, I want you all to put a time block into your calendar right now on when you're going to practice. Yeah, Corey, I see that look. Put a time block in and share with people what the time block is in the chat. I always tell people, be careful what you wish for. You guys all ask me to make sure that you do more stuff while you're here. So this is the byproduct of it. Mondays, 10 a.m. Wednesday after the call. Guys, one day is great, but you need to do this every day. Like 5 days. I'm looking for a 15-minute commitment. Just remember, raise your hand if you have kids. Okay, good. Now imagine, Abby, imagine your son or daughter says, Mommy, I want to play in a band and I want to be in the performance and I want to be great. And you're going to say, great, but I only want to practice 1 time a week. What would you say to them?
I would tell her that she needs to practice more often.
Bingo. So a lot of us need to work as if our children were watching. Because they are watching one way or another. They hear all of this stuff. They see all of this stuff, right? I can tell you countless things that my kids see. Some of them are mortified as to like what I've actually taught them. And like, it forces us as parents to level up our game, like not mortified in a bad way, but I didn't think my kids at like 8 and 6 years old would conceptually understand some of these things, but they're constantly watching, right? Like if you ask my children what you do every day, they'd say you wake up in the morning, you exercise, and then you go to work and you help people. That's what they see and what they do. And you guys help people every single day. But real estate comes with a fair amount of complaining. So our kids see those complaints, right? They see our relationship with our cell phones. They see how much time we spend on social. Like they're looking at this. They're looking at the fact that there's somebody in front of them and they're going like this. They're looking at the fact and they listen. They hear you talk about the same things over and over again, right? So the time of living like this, in my mind, today's over. No more plausible deniability. And we'll keep going through this here, right? And I see people in the chat sharing, like, connect with other people, do it together. But if you really have a good list, we could even sit here on a coaching call, right? And go through the entire list and say, okay, this is how you respond to that. This is what it is. What do we want to work on as a group? Like, we can create dialogues together. This is the nice part about actually knowing what you're talking about, right? Like, you can't, it's not like I need 3 days to practice a set thing. Real estate is real estate. When you learn how to have the conversations, it's very easy to repeat them over and over and over again, right? So I want to go through, where'd that book go? 1 second. I want to go through the 7 keys of effective communication. Brooke, do you know what page that is in the book?
Chirag, why are you looking for that? I have a quick question.
Shoot.
We're actually getting together after this to practice buyer's presentation. I have a buyer coming, from New York, and I have never done a buyer's, not presentation, consultation. I don't even know how to, I know the gist of it, but I'm not sure how to start. Should I do a PowerPoint presentation or like just, because it's via Zoom?
This is a really good question, right? And let me address these 7 keys, and I think this will answer a lot of your questions. So number 1, it's always their choice, right? So as you're having conversations with people, the first thing, like we talked about when we went through the scorecard, is meeting somebody where they are, right? What is their motivation, right? What are they excited about happening as a result of their move? What are their expectations of a realtor? Understanding where things didn't go well, right? Those disappointments. People's past disappointments affect their present decision-making, right? Remember, it's what's under the iceberg that sunk the Titanic. And concerns, right? Do you have concerns because the interest rates went up by 30%? Do you have concerns on the pricing of the market? What are their concerns? If you don't address people's concerns, those are all the objections that come up in the end. See, like, we want this whole romanticized relationship. Okay, where are you looking to move? How much you want to spend? When do you want to be there? Do you have proof of funds? Great, 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 great. Heartbeat pre-approval, let's go. And then it's like time to make an offer. You're like, well, what about this and this and this? And then the real estate is like, oh my God, how come they never told me this in the beginning? Because you did not ask. You have to ask. It is on us to figure this stuff out. This is what people are paying money for, a service. It's proactive, not reactionary. So number 1, it's always their choice. Do not tell people how to think, feel, and what to do. Number 2, the person asking all the questions controls the conversation. So write down questions to ask these people, right? If someone's coming, it's good that she said this. If someone's coming from one area to another, literally, and you sit there and just lecture them, that doesn't give them space to talk about why they're coming, what's important to them, and all this other stuff that made someone think of going from one state to another, right? The third one is, whatever you do always has to be in the benefit of the other party. Always has to be in the benefit of the other party. It doesn't matter how delusional what they say is, right? I don't want to overpay for a house. Great, completely understand. So overpaying is a terrible feeling, and you don't want to overextend yourself potentially if the market changes. Yes. That's very different than saying, well, if you want to win a home in this market, this is what you're going to have to do, and like all that other jargon that goes along with it. The next one is always be in agreement with their client. If you're not in agreement with them, you're being combative, or you're not seen as a person that's helping them get what they want. Now, give me a scenario where you think your client's crazy and you should not be in agreement with them, and I could show you how to go about doing it. Corey, I feel like you'll have good ones here. what a scenario, right?
I have a really good one because it's
Okay,
this
go ahead.
weekend scenario where I have this seller that went on the market, the top number, which is really like an over ask number that it should go for. Told them to list at 729, 735. It's a 750 max house. They said, no, we're going to list at 751. I said, great, no problem. We got a 770. So, not bad on me, but you never know where it's going to go, right? But we had a really rainy open house. Only 6 people showed up, but we got 3 offers. Long story short, we have 3 over asking offers, all between 750 and 770. And they're miserable because they don't have 15 offers. Literally every day, no one's looking today. Contracts are out. They're driving me crazy.
So you know what? So ready? Now this is like a really good scenario, right? And they had in a leadership thing, somebody held up a shoe, right? And for the sake of this, I'm not gonna take my shoe off. And they looked at it, one side's the sole and the other side is the laces, right? And so they had people on 2 different sides of the room and they asked, what do you see? One people saw a sole and one person saw a lace, but in the end, they're both looking at a shoe, right? And they're like, in life, that's what it's like. Sometimes people see the sole, sometimes you see the laces, but you're both looking at the same thing, right? So in their mind, let's start with your mind. In your mind, you did everything you could and you got them in an above ask number. You did your job. So you don't feel acknowledged, appreciated, and you're just like, holy crap, like these people still going to complain. Based on them and their expectations and what they read and everything else, odds are they romanticize 15 offers and all this stuff. So in their mind, there are some disappointments, right? So just a lot of times in these moments, we have this urge to want to respond, to try to get someone to understand that what they have is good, right? And that is exactly what you don't want to do, because you're not going to talk somebody into feeling that way, because if that's the case, they would have felt that way in the first place, right? So you're going to say, look, I completely understand. And it sounds like what your expectations were and kind of what the market is and what you got were 2 different things. Not that you're disappointed in the outcome, but you thought it might be different. And they're just going to say, yes, I completely understand that. And that's it. Make people feel heard. Why is it hard?
Because it's every day. It's been like 7 days of it. Because that's how long it takes since getting this contract.
However, what are you telling them?
I believe me, I very much so. I'm a completely different person since I started working with you. And I'm so not combative anymore, because I would have been like, what the hell is wrong with you? You're great. Seriously, a year ago, that's what I would have said. But I said, I completely understand. You wish you had more offers, but we're in a really good place. I hope you see what a great number we're at, things like that.
So you don't even have to bring that to great number and everything like that. You just say, completely understand. I see you're still frustrated. And they're going to say yes. And then just sit there in silence and watch. It's just that silence will that like help them get to, okay. They just want someone to listen to them. They just want to come. You ever met somebody that all they want to do is vent? They don't want a solution. They just want to vent, right? It's fine. No problem, right? But then when they call, you can always send messages or emails that says, hey, I'm about to walk into a meeting, anything urgent that I have to get in touch with you? Like, no, it's not a big deal. Like these are different ways of pulling it off, right? Just remember, in the end, no telling, no explaining, rule number 5, right? Telling somebody's like, we're still in a great place. They never said that they didn't think they're in a great place. They just said that they wanted more offers, right? And in the end, if you're very patient, which I clearly see that you have become a lot more patient, they're going to be like, I'm so sorry. You did a really good job. I patronized you. They'll apologize to you, right? So it's an interesting thing. So that's number 5, no telling, no explaining, no being combative. Number 6, never show you're attached to an outcome. The most dangerous person in negotiations is one that's willing to walk away. And as a real estate agent, the more you're like, yeah, all right, fine. We don't need to make an offer. The more they want to make the offer. It's human nature. Everyone thinks that agents, all they care about is just pushing people into a house, which is not the case. Not at least the people here. If you want to find people like that, you can go to plenty of other brokerages, but I find Compass does not have those types of people here. Right. And the last one is, what they choose to do does never mean you have to compromise. If all somebody cares about is a discounted commission and controlling somebody, does not mean you have to work with those people. We all need to be more comfortable and confident saying no. Julie, this is in page 46 of the workbook. If you follow this framework for every conversation, can anyone ever really be mad at you? Does this, like a pressure cooker, take all the steam out of the pot and the pressure in it? Yes. Now, here's what I want you to start doing, and we're going to continue this conversation this week, and we're going to keep practicing sharing the market, right? Is start making your sheets, right? Start documenting your challenges so you know where to improve and where to focus on. If not, you're like literally swimming in an ocean looking for a pebble. But when you know what you're looking for, it gets easier, correct? Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question.
Shoot.
So this sheet that you speak of, so we maybe make an Excel document and share it with everyone, or how do we do this?
How you do it with each other is on, I'll let you guys all figure that out, but I would make a challenge, right? Control, response, right? So here's the challenge. Understand what you can control in the situation and what your response should be. So this walks your brain through a framework, right?
And then
go ahead.
if we make it, let's say, I mean, I could put that together, but how would I share it with the group if I made it like a Google sheet? How do I share that with you all?
You would post it in our community platform where
Okay.
people can download it and add to it, and we'll all keep going. Was this helpful today and kind of starting to think through, how to operational ourselves going forward, right? Because look, one of the things that's most important to us as a company for all of you is that the things that we talk about show up in your business, and you're not showing up year after year trying to learn the same thing over and over again. Like, that has to end. There's so much more things that we can do once we all build this foundation. And like, look, when we start our playbook in July, I could not be more excited for all of us, because that's everything. That's marketing, that's branding, that's social, that's, that's admin training. It's our team building. Everything that you need is in one place, right? And I want you guys all to have this framework to start out with, because if not, it can get very challenging. Like in what success looks like, it's like in 30, 60, 90 days, if anyone says they want to cut your commission and you deal with that often, then you know what? You just answer it, and it's no problem. You'll get excited when they say, oh, I want to do it for less, because they're saying it to other people and they don't know how to answer it. So Brooke will post a workbook and everything into with this recording in our portal. We'll send a link to it out in our recap email for the week. And as always, with love in my heart, I love you all, and I hope you guys have a great day. And please take this moment to make sure that your routines are set up the right way and that you're starting to play offense, right? There's going to be a lot of changes I foresee coming in this industry and in this upcoming year. So I want us to be ahead of the curve. Bye, everybody.
I did it. That's the link. I put it together.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.